If it's a day called today, we're talking guitars and life. Let's get into it.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of TED Talks Paint. Not really. It's TED Talks Guitars and Life, Jack. Well, guys, I have copacetically let the second coat of color dry, and I have wet sanded with some non-ammonia glass cleaner and 2500 grit sandpaper. And that has left us, of course, with the dullness. And the horns don't look as bad, maybe, as I thought they did. It looks to be redeemable. But I do think what I'm going to do is I am going to hit the horns with a little bit of black, and then I'm going to spray with some color. Now, what I don't know is, because this is color shift and it's really clear with pigment in it, the dullness here, I think if I did the old wax thing, that might bring that to life, but I really want to put another coat of color on. What I don't know is if the color is going to show up or not, because the color is contingent on a black base coat. Anyway, I'm going to go outside and experiment, and I'll update you. Hey, man, thanks for coming along with the ride, man. Hey, you might want to run out to the kitchen, get you some popcorn, some Cracker Jacks, some peanuts, a Diet Coke, or root beer, whatever you dig, Jack. This might be an adventure, or maybe not. Come along with the ride, man. Let's get into it. All right, my friends, from the experimentation files, I think we're doing pretty well. I did go out in the backyard and I did put a little bit of that black in the inside horns, and I'm going to let that dry, just a couple light coats of that. Yeah, man. And then on the top, where we had that kind of dullness, I did apply some more of that pigment, and the dullness went away, and I feel pretty good about the amount of paint on there. You know, I'm prone to overdo it, so lightly, lightly. Oh, hey, we got a new puppy. I'll tell you about that later. That's a whole different story. I don't know if he talks guitars in life or not yet, but I'm sure if he's going to hang out with us, he's going to, right? Yeah, guys, so I'm going to let all that copacetically dry, and then we'll come back. Yeah, man, maybe we're getting close to having a painted Partscaster body. Wouldn't that be something? I can move on with my life. It's all good, guys. All right, stick around.
It's a good time for me to say nothing I do is prescriptive. In fact, please don't do anything that I do, Jack.
Well, my friends, from the counterintuitive files, this really doesn't make any sense to me, but so I thought I was doing pretty well. In fact, I was kind of proud of my work, thus I held the guitar up in the vid. Maybe you could see that, maybe you couldn't. I did the StuMag thing. Guys, believe it or not, I do actually watch YouTube videos on how to do this stuff. I just can't emulate it, Mike. I just can't do it the way they do it. I don't have the same results. Anyway, one of the things that I've learned, 2 points of learning that I'll share. There you go, 2 points of learning that I will share. And then one kind of weirdness that I'm looking at right here. I need some, love to have some comments on, man. So first point of learning for me, it occurred to me that maybe some of my weirdness in the horn, i.e. way too much paint, is that I was trying to do the horns side to side with the spray. And it dawned on me, well, dude, that's why you're getting too much paint in some areas of the horn. So I decided to do the up and down in the horns, like kind of sort of in the middle, hoping it would hit all sides. I think we did okay. I don't see an overabundance of paint or any drippage, so I think we're good there. The second point of learning for me is that I was watching the guys at StuMag, and they're the ones who had talked about putting the guitar on a Lazy Susan in the old Fender factories when they painted by hand, and they would spin it around and paint it. Which, you know, I kind of like that. But the problem is that I always get spray paint on either the bottom or the top, the opposite side of what I'm painting if I do it that way, and it never seems to work out. Anyway, the other thing that they mentioned, they had their guitar body on a stick. Sticko guitar. There you go. Copyright. I don't know if that's copyright. I don't, never heard of that before. Anyway, guys, it's early. I'm bantering, okay? So I held the guitar by the handle and I tried to angle it up like that so that my spray was coming in like this instead of going directly down on top of it. And I think that yielded pretty good results. I was at a pretty good place, and then I went out to the trampoline and I did the flat painting again. I think the sides look pretty good. But you see all the, this is where, please put the comments, particularly Chris, man, I think I saw this in one of your vids, bro, about your orange Telecaster that you were painting. This will timestamp the video. You put that video out a few days ago. This is a few days after that, and this video is not going to post for probably 2 weeks, so that's kind of the time frame. But the quandary is, why do I have certain areas that are lighter and darker? The only reason that I've repainted the top or attempted to quote touch it up while it was on the trampoline was because I had a lot of, not a lot, I had much of it that looked to me like it had a lot of kind of, you know, this is clear with pigment in it. I'm just going to call it purple, okay? I know that it's not technically a color. All right. So I had a whole lot of like shiny purple in some areas, and in some areas it looked dull, almost kind of a dull black color. So I put more paint in those areas and I ended up with this. Instead of more purple, I got kind of more black. Or, Chris, this is my question. You mentioned humidity when you painted the orange Telecaster body. Are these light areas humidity like it was on the orange Telecaster body? Or am I just totally messing this up? And guys, when you tell me, you know, I can take it. Just, you know, try to be somewhat gracious. But yeah, I think it looks okay. I don't understand the weirdness here, and I don't know what's going to happen. We'll come back at least 24 hours, if not 48 hours from now. Again, the vids are not in real time, guys. This is over a week and a half of my life painting this guitar body. But, you know, we'll come back 24 to 48 hours, and I'll just see where we are. Maybe I have to wet sand. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. So anyway, it's an adventure. TED Talks, Guitars, and Life, guys. So that's where we are on painting the body as it stands today. Well, stick around. I'm sure there's more to come, Jack. Well, all right, my friends, we have had sufficient drying time. It is very super early on a morning of the week here. Yeah. So we still have all the weirdness that I had after painting the guitar. I don't know that you can see it in the particular lighting that we've got. Let me see if I can get you in here a little bit closer. All right, I think that's a pretty good shot of the carnage. So that you can tell where I've just got areas that just look dull and like, I don't know, man, grayed out almost. So I don't know if it's because of the spraying pattern. I don't know if my spray can, uh, rattle can was almost empty, and so it was just blowing straight air. I don't know why that would discolor anything. I don't know. Maybe this is humidity. I don't know. I think if I'm going to put lacquer on this guitar, I've decided, okay, on top of all this goodness right here. So what I don't know is if I lacquer on top of it, my assumption is that these spots do not go away. They are just amplified. And the guitar would forever look like that with that weird kind of, I mean, you have to get in certain lights to see it, but you can see it, right? So I don't think if I clear coat over it with lacquer that it's going to luster that up. I want to believe that. I'd love to believe that. I'd love to say, man, I go outside with some lacquer, I spray it, and that old dull gray just pops, Jack. I think that's fantasy land. The other thing I don't know is if I wet sand, uh, could I get anything going here? So, because I believe that if I were to lacquer over this, I'm not doing anything but amplifying that. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take some non-ammonia glass cleaner, and I'm going to take a little 3000 sandpaper, and I'm going to pick an area, an inconspicuous area. Maybe what I could do is find something that would live under the pick guard. Maybe this area, this right here, maybe. I don't know if you can tell on the camera that there's a gray spot right here. Maybe, and I'm saying maybe, if I played my cards just right, and I could find my sandpaper. No, it's going to be all right, guys. It's just early. I'm going to take my non-ammonia glass cleaner. I'm going to take some 2500 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to lightly sand that gray area right there. And we're going to see if that does anything or not. Okay, I think you could see that. Again, let me get you in closer. The only thing I really care about you seeing right now, or being able to see, is this gray area right there. Because that looks the same as all those. All right, let me get my sandpaper. Okay, guys, so first order of business. Let's see if I can get a little bit of liquid on there. All right, and I've got my 2500 grit sandpaper, and I just broke off a little piece, and I really just want to do something like that. Okay, then I want to wipe that off. Now it didn't take that gray away, did it? It did not. It did not, my friends. If nothing, it made it just a little worse, maybe? Okay, so if I wet sand the whole thing, that's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to wet sand the whole front. I'm just going to pretend like we're going to wet sand the whole front. All right, I'll check back with you in a minute. Well, all right, my friends. I have wet sanded the entire front of the guitar body, and you can still tell I've got gray spots. So the other level of experimentation is, this is what I noticed. I noticed that when I rub the water on, let me go up here to this horn right here. I'll show you what I mean. This, I've got a little bit of weirdness right here on the horn. All right, watch this. Here's my thought. What's an area you could see? You see this gray area right here? If I get some moisture on my finger, and I do that, that goes away. What if, and this is a huge what if when I sprayed the lacquer on it, see, when I wipe this away, it's gray again. But as long as it's kind of looking wet, it kind of sparkles. So maybe, and I'm saying maybe, I see a spot up in the corner I want to deal with. Maybe I put the lacquer on it and it makes everything pop like that, because it'll look wet, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wet sand the back, and I'm going to take it out back, and I'm going to throw some lacquer on here. Ha! What's the worst thing can happen, Brant? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. All right, guys, stand by. Well, before I wet sand, I just want to bring in and show you on the back of the guitar, you have that same grayness basically everywhere except for two places. Places that I believe just got more paint or did not get whatever caused the grayness. All right, let me wet this sand, this bad boy. Well, all right, my friends, you can probably tell that I don't think that really worked out very well. However, I've about decided that that's just going to be what it'll be, my friends. I'm thinking that maybe those little gray patches are part of the charm of the Partscaster. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. My only recourse at this point would probably be to put some black on there and start over. I'm not feeling that, guys. I'm really not. So just so everybody is aware, this is the product I am using for the lacquer. Polar Flawless Lacquer Crystal Clear Gloss. And according to this can, that drying time is touch dry in 15 minutes, fully cured in 24 hours. So that is basically one application of the Flawless Lacquer, i.e. one can spread out over a bit of time this morning. And so I'm going to let this sit for the 24 hours, and then I may or may not hit it again with the Flawless Lacquer. And the lighting is not great right now, and I don't think that you can even kind of see what I can see just yet. Let me see if I can get some lights taken down. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, I've still got too many lights on. So yeah. So that's kind of what we're rocking. You can tell it's purple. In a lot of light it's purple, in some light it's gold, in some light it's kind of almost a very dark gray to a black. And you can see the gray spots depending on the lighting. It's either more pronounced or like that, you can't even see it. So I'm going to consider that a possibility for a win, even though it's not perfect. And guys, you knew it wasn't going to be perfect. It's me refinning a guitar. So with that, we're going to wait 24 hours. We're going to come back. I will assess where we are. I'll bring you in. We'll take some action photos up close and personal like. And we'll talk about what we're going to do next, Jack. All right. Well, all right, my friends. It has been a few hours since I put the first coat of lacquer on the guitar. Again, I just found this on the Zon. Polar Flawless Lacquer Crystal Clear Gloss. So I'm experimenting just a little bit. And depending on the series of lights that I turn on, I don't know what you're going to be able to see or not. But I think for all intensive purposes, I'm going to call this as good as I can get it. Um, Based on your comments, we may come back another time and do something different with the Partscaster body. Should I keep it around the shop a little bit longer term? So you can probably tell that we do have a bit of shininess and a bit of grayness scattered on the back. If I try to flip this over, now this should be dry according to the instructions. I have it sitting up in the swimming pool around on one of my cork blocks. By the way, these cork blocks that I got on the Zon, man, they have really come in handy for multiple things. So I'm going to touch it. I should probably glove up, but I'm not going to. All right, that's what we're rocking on the front. And you can tell we've got some grayish areas, or not grayish, but dull areas. And then we've got some popping areas, like down in here. So guys, I think for me, I think I'm gonna, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna put a second coat of this lacquer on this guitar pretty well. And then I'm gonna let that dry for 24 hours. It says it dries in 15 minutes. I think I mentioned that, but it fully cures in 24 hours. That's why I got it. It's kind of a fast curing lacquer, if you believe in that kind of thing. I don't know, guys. Put it in the comments. But so yeah, I'll be doing that tomorrow morning, more than likely before work. And then I'm going to let it copacetically sit for another 24 hours. And then in the next video, man, we'll start reassembling this bad boy. Now, right now, let me get a prop. Why does this guy never have his stuff together? I don't know, man. It's Ted Talks Guitars and Life. You didn't expect me to have my stuff together, did you? Well, not really. Well, then why are you complaining? I don't really understand. Sorry, guys, having a conversation with the inner critic while I work. That is the pick guard that was on the guitar. I don't think that's going to float, man. What do you guys think? I think that's the Clash of the Titans in color right there. So, again, this pick guard is aftermarket, clearly. Again, this is by the pickups, and all this is apparently a loaded pick guard that was purchased. It does have full-size pots, humbucker, single coils, Dragonfire guitar parts. So, and you can tell that it has the remains of the clear coat from the Partscaster on it. I don't think it was dried or cured all the way when the guitar was reassembled the first time. So I think because I don't have another pick guard with a humbucker like this, and this does fit. You can tell there are 2 screw holes, you know, around the pick guard area. So clearly we got some extra holage. However, that being the case, I'm thinking about painting the pick guard black. Or I could paint the pick guard in the pink. But I don't think I'm going to do that. The Joker looks okay with the body and the pick guard kind of painted with that same color shift green. I'm thinking maybe if that were just black, that might be smoking hot. I really don't know. Actually, you know what? The more I look at it, guys, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. What do you think about that, guys? Smoking hot or super ugly? I could go either way. Well, I don't know if I want to paint another pick guard or not. I really don't know. So, we can look at it that way. I don't know, man. Sorry, guys, that was a whole lot of external processing. I'll make my decisions, and you'll see in the next video what I decided to do, Jack. Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me today on another crazy adventure with the Partscaster guitar. Special shout out to the Jacks and all the channel members, man, and all of you for spending any time at all with me on the channel. Man, you guys are the best. Well, as always, wherever you are in your guitar journey, I pray it's a long, smooth, safe, joy-filled ride for you, Jack. Hey, rock on with your bad selves, everybody. Catch you down the road.